Hello everybody, it's Jen Scrappina Creations. Today I'm using these fun little fairy stamp sets by the Greeting Farm. The first one is the Fairy Garden and the one that I'm holding up now is Fairy Happy. I've gone ahead and colored the little fairy garden just to save time, and it took me about 40 minutes to color that little garden. Now, I did color it while I was watching a Christmas movie on TV, so I wasn't giving my full attention to the coloring. But really, I want the focus of today's video to be on coloring different skin tones. So I'm already on to my second little fairy here, now on to the third. And I'm using a different skin tone for each of the 6 little fairies. I thought that this card, given there was multiple images, it was a really good chance to practice my different skin tones. So I have the colors listed on the caps to the left, as you can see. I will also list the colors I used in the description box so that if you want to go back and just copy and paste it, you can. I really love the way this little scene ended up turning out. If you're not familiar with Scrapping for Less store, they do a monthly card kit, which is amazing, but they also sell stamps and other products at a discounted price, and each month they feature at least one stamp company, sometimes 2. So for the month of December, they're featuring the Greeting Farm and Sunny Studio. So I will have another project coming up this month using a Sunny Studio stamp. So don't forget to go check out the store and see what goodies you can get at a discounted price. So for the images here, I wanted to color each of them with a different colored dress. Now, the little fairy with the tulip is going to go on the inside of the card, so I wasn't worried about coloring her dress the same color twice. I'm using the same colors I used for the little garden home, which is so adorable. You'll get a good close-up look of that when I start putting the card together. But I'm using pink, purple, yellow, and a teal color. For their wings, I'm using the lightest BG marker that I have, which is the BG10. I'm going to use that really sparingly, and then I'm going to blend that out with my colorless blender. At this point, I didn't know what I wanted to do with their hair. I thought that I could bring in various hair color shades, but I wanted to keep it simple, and I knew that I was going to be adding a lot of glitter to this card. So what I ended up doing was taking the lightest marker from each of the color sets that I used, so the pink, the purple, the teal, and the yellow, and I just very sparingly added that to where there would be shadows on the little fairy's hair. And I'm blending that out with a colorless blender. So it's a very light color for their hair, but I think it did the trick, and I didn't have to bring out, 15 more markers to do variations in hair colors. So I am going to fussy cut out all these images. It was super simple. So when I do something like this, I always cut close to the image so that I have the least amount of paper to work with as possible. And then I go ahead and move the paper, not my scissors, and fussy cut out the image. So I'm just going to do that for a second here, and then we'll move on to creating the card. So here we go. So I'm going to be using 2 stencils. I'm using the Grassy Border stencil and the Mini Cloud stencil. Both of these are from MFT. So I've got a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock here, and I'm using Twisted Citron and Mowed Lawn for the grass. I just wanted a very low level of grass at the bottom of the card. Now I did end up not having it as high up as I would have liked, so you'll see how I kind of make it work for the scene. I needed it up maybe about another 1/4 of an inch maybe, and that would have been perfect. So that was really simple, easy background. And now I'm going to do the sky. So I'm using tumbled glass and peacock feathers. I thought I was going to start at the bottom with my cloud stencil, and then I decided, no, I'm going to start at the top. So I'm using my lightest color, the tumbled glass, and then I'm going to go over just where the clouds kind of, if there's peaks and valleys, kind of where the valleys are, just to add some definition there in the clouds, which I think turned out really pretty. And then I go back over that with the tumbled glass just to mix that back together. So I'm going to move down the paper here. What I love about these stencils is that you can just turn them, and each of the 4 sides has a different pattern. So it gives you a really amazing variation on your cards. And you can see there how there's some darker patches and some lighter patches now with using the 2 colors. Sometimes I just use the tumbled glass and that's perfectly fine. But I wanted to bring a little bit more variation in the background. So at the bottom, I almost kept going, and then I thought, no, there wouldn't be clouds to the bottom of the grass. So I'm just going in with the tumbled glass and making that the sky. I got my fingers in the green, so I'm just going to go back with my twisted citron, whatever I had left on my tool, and I'm going to go ahead and fix that up. Now here's where I'm bringing in the reversed scalloped stitched rectangle dies. These are frame dies from Lawn Fawn, which I love. I cut that out of some white glitter cardstock, and I'm basically trying to get as much grass on there as possible. So I adhered that down so that the frame is actually off of the bottom of the card. So I do need to trim the top off a little bit. And that worked out perfectly and gave me that extra little bit that I needed, as you'll see where I'm placing the fairies to complete this scene card. So my card bases I just make out of 110-pound heavyweight cardstock from Recollections. And the color that I use to color my images, I use Spectrum Noir Premium cardstock. All of those will be linked in the description below on my YouTube channel. Some of you may be viewing this on the Scrapping for Less YouTube channel. I'm stamping out the sentiment, have a fairy happy day, which is so cute. I've got my little fairy garden homes on my card now, which I popped up with some 3M foam tape. And have this little flying fairy looking like she's flying home to the left-hand side of the card. Dropped this little cutie who's sitting, so I'm going to have her sitting inside the home. I was playing around with placement here because there were so many of those little tulips behind her, and I didn't realize how many of them were going to get covered up when she was sitting there, but it still looks super cute. I'm going to have this fairy over to the top right by the sentiment, like she's wishing the recipient the happy day. And then I'm going to have these 2 at the bottom here. The one with the flower is up on 3M foam tape, and then this one that I'm putting down now, I just adhered flat to the card base just to give a little bit of differentiation between the 2 images. Now, I didn't quite get a dark enough image for my liking for the word fairy, so I'm just going over that with my Memento Tuxedo black marker. And here's where I'm going to add all the fun. These are fairies, so I felt like this card called for a lot of sparkle and glitter. I'm using my frosted lace stickles. This came in a previous card kit, the Flavor of the Month card kit. And I am basically outlining the majority of the images. So the only things that I'm going to color in completely with the stickles is their hair and their wings. Everything else is just going to get a little added outline. It matches perfectly with the white glitter cardstock that I've used. Now, my glitter cardstock is just stuff that I'm using up in my stash. I've heard that the Lawn Fawn glitter cardstock is amazing, so I will link that below. I'm really hoping to get some of that once I use up my stash of glitter paper. So I'm just going to add this little fairy on the inside like I had mentioned. I'm using the Sentiment Smile that came in the stamp set, and my card is complete. I think this is a very fun and happy card that would bring a smile to everyone's face. So thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!